All right, fire away.
So are we going to have any like really quirky episodes like Scooby-Doo in this upcoming season?
There's no Scooby-Doo this year. That that took a while to come to fruition, getting the animation the way we wanted it, and that takes a long time. So we were way ahead of the curve there when we conceived that episode. So nothing quite that far out, but we'll find something that's offbeat, and we always do. And it's always a relief. I think it's a relief for the cast, and it's a relief for us to do an episode which is not dark and dangerous. That has just get to smile and say, okay, these guys can have fun too.
And I know you can't give complete specifics, but can you tease about how long the whole Dean Michael of it all is going to
Yeah, I could, but I'd have to shoot you. Actually, not. That's something we want to kind of keep under wraps. I can tell you that Dean will return. He won't be Michael all year.
Is that going to be the number one plot line through the beginning episodes? Is Michael as Dean, or is there going to be other plot lines?
Well, we always kind of keep a lot of balls in the air, and I mean, in this year we're coming out of that. We have Jack without his powers, which is a big story, and is actually going to kind of arc through the whole year. And the Dean and Michael. There's a brewing Bobby-Mary relationship that we want to explore. I think we left a lot of balls in the air at the end of last season, and we'll be paying those off over the course of this year. The show is kind of, at least character-wise, is sort of grown over the years. We're sort of dealing with more characters now than we did in, say, season 5, 7, 9. We love our cast. We want to give everybody a good opportunity to have a good storyline. So how you work out the balance of all that is always tricky, but it's a good problem to have.
The only other person who might be able to defeat Michael Dean is maybe our Michael that we know. He's trapped in the cage. Is there a possibility that he might come out, or that there's at least a discussion of doing something crazy like that?
Well, yeah, we discuss it internally. To be a fly on the wall in a writer's room, I think sometimes you guys will go, God, these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. So a lot of stuff gets thrown around. That certainly gets thrown around, quite a bit. We don't have any specific plans for that now, but that's always sort of working back there. It's just, I think it's a card we don't think we want to play quite yet.
Do you think that there's a chance for us to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan again in the show?
Jeff's really busy. He's a working actor. We talk about it. We love Jeff. We'd love to see him come back, but trying to work out his schedule and all that is, And I imagine he probably wants a little more money than he did when we last saw him. So, it would be a great thing to do, to have Dad show up.
Yeah, it's possible.
Would be great. So it's possible.
Is the alt universe, is that done and over with, or is that going to be something that continues to be?
That's pretty much done. I mean, I would never want to say never, but with Michael in our world now, and that universe sort of decimated by the war, and Michael in his own way says, maybe that plan wasn't so good because it's just an awful place, so I think he wants to stay here and try to see if he can do it better this time.
Enjoy some Starbucks.
All that, yeah.
You mentioned in the panel that Michael is recruiting, and there's a shortage of angels. Might Sister Jo play into this?
You're going to see Sister Jo. I'm not sure she's a pivot point, but he has some plans. We'll just have to watch. We know what he's up to.
You mentioned you're going to play a little bit into the Bobby and Mary relationship.
when the boys start to discover that assuming Dean is Dean, what can you say about how they may react in your mind, given the importance of those two figures in their lives?
I think the boys would be on board with this. They want, well, first of all, it's not their Bobby,
Right.
so, but it is their mom, who came back from being dead many years.
Better than Catch.
But yeah. But they love one and like a lot the other, and if it would make their mom happy, they go for that. But this Bobby is a little more complicated a character and what he's seen and done, and that can be some roadblock in the relationship.
So Lucifer is definitely dead.
I didn't say that.
Okay. Is he not dead?
I didn't say that either.
Well then. Okay.
I'm just gonna go for it. I know you can't say a lot about that 300th episode, but can you
Okay.
give us the tiniest little tease?
Obviously, just 2 words: nudist colony. And I think it's gonna be something the fans are really excited about. That will not be the plot of the
We're gonna edit that.
Yeah, exactly. You're like that's gonna be like the thing that's set off in the article and everything has to be like he didn't joke, but that's what Twitter wants. No, I think 300 is going to be, the 100th episode was very much the straight up episode of Supernatural. The 200th episode went very much in the other direction, where it was very meta and a commentary on the show. I think for the 300th we want to do something that kind of lies in the middle, and the idea kind of floating around right now is Sam and Dean for years have lived in the bunker. The bunker's in a place called Lebanon, Kansas, which is a real town, a very small town. We've never actually seen Lebanon, Kansas on the show. We've never actually seen what these people in this town think of these 2 guys who drive this muscle car through, who came to the dry cleaner, and I think they had a lot of blood on their clothes. What's going on there? So it becomes kind of how do these people kind of view Sam and Dean, with a Sam and Dean story in there too, but we think can be kind of a real love letter to the show in a what we hope is going to be a very heartwarming way.
So that
With
means-
murder. Heartwarming with murder.
So that means Dean will be Dean again by this time.
Really?
That's what I'm asking.
Well, Dean will be, the thing with Dean and being Dean is that Dean is not always Dean. And even when Dean's being Dean, Dean isn't always the Dean we know.
What does that mean?
What does it mean? That's the question we're asking ourselves.
So speaking of Michael in Dean as Dean the vessel,
Dean
will we see parts of Dean trying to fight out, or will it be Michael at least initially?
We'll see Dean putting up a valiant fight, but that's a real hard fight to win. But Dean's a fighter. He's going to try to get out, even if it doesn't quite go his way.
How does that visually look?
We have a couple of different approaches to it. Some are very he looks into a mirror and Dean is talking to him through the mirror. And some are, as we've done in the show in the past, going into people's heads and things like that. It's really dependent on the story more than any specific, this is the way we're always going to do it.
We saw Dean, powerful moments when Dean's reacting to his brother when he was Lucifer. How might we see Sam reacting to his brother when he's the other side of that whole storyline?
I think you've got a Sam who's really, really, scared yet also cautious in a way. Because the question is let's say you even had a way to kill Michael, which they don't at the moment, but let's say you did. In doing so, would you also kill Dean? You know what I mean? So I think Sam, as much as he wants to find Dean, drive Michael out of Dean, that's his number one goal, is save Dean. His number one goal is not necessarily kill Michael, which is a very different goal in some ways. So you've got a Sam who I'm not going to say is being cautious because he's extremely driven and wants to get kind of what he gets, but he does have an agenda, and that agenda is to save his brother.
We saw the clip in the panel where you kind of see that Michael has an agenda. Can you preview a little bit about what Michael is trying to do and accomplish?
Sure. I mean, even in the last episode of last season, he said he wanted to make a kind of a pure world. So the question is, what does that mean? And even Michael in the last episode of last season said the world he has right now is not what he wanted. This was not the plan. A bombed out apocalypse world was not the goal, right? So when he comes to our world, he has a second chance. That's the good news. The bad news is, what's he going to do and how's he going to go about doing it, essentially. We know that, whatever happened between angels and demons, is kind of all-out war, this nuclear war, essentially, did not work. So he's going to have a different strategy going in. The strategy may look on its surface a little less violent in that, the world is not being blasted to ash. That doesn't mean it's any less insidious, or that his end goal, which is essentially create a world that's pure, a world that he believes is essentially pure enough for him, worthy of him. That's what he wants.
Will he play a part in recharging heaven?
Mike, as you saw, Lucifer can't create new angels. Michael can't either. So you've got a guy who, but that's actually an issue for him because, in Apocalypse World, he had an army of angels. He had all the angels united behind him. Now he comes in, there's no army there. There's 10 angels. That's not an army. So what do you do when your go-to, power base is not there? Where do you go? Do you try to go without it? Do you try to find another power base? That becomes a question he's asking himself.
We also have some very big openings, vacancies, as it were, in heaven and hell.
Yeah.
Does that play into the immediate story as we enter into the next season?
It does, as it kind of always does. And I think that chaos is something that certainly someone like Michael could take advantage of.
How might Castiel and maybe even Jack, given his birthright, help with the situation in heaven?
I think you've got, for Cass it's a big deal because Cass I think feels in some ways personally responsible for what's happening. Although in the beginning of the season his focus is on Dean, find Dean. Jack's a little bit different. His experiences with the angels are not positive, other than Castiel. He's never been to heaven. He doesn't know what the infrastructure is up there. So for him, it exists almost more as a theoretical. Not that the coming ghost apocalypse isn't a big deal, but he doesn't have skin in the game. He doesn't have somebody who's there, who he knows, other than the people in heaven who he's loved, like his mom, for example, that are directly at risk.
Are you introducing any new characters, that you can really talk about?
We're introducing a few new characters. Sam and Dean brought over a bunch of hunters from Apocalypse World who are looking a little bit better. But I would say, and as the season goes on, new characters will come in as they always do. But I think really our focus is on we've got a big cast. We've got a lot of people who want and need more time. We've got a lot of people who we know but we don't really know. Like Apocalypse World Charlie, Apocalypse World Bobby. If you think they're the people you loved on Supernatural when they were on Supernatural, they are not. They may look the same, they may talk the same, they may even act the same in some ways, but they've been through extremely different experiences, which have shaped them in ways that have made them maybe not the characters we're used to.
So we'll be seeing them frequently.
They're certainly part in the mix, yes.
How are you? It looked like you're broadening the use of religion and multiple religions this season. What approach are you taking to including those in the story?
I think certainly Supernatural's always been a show that religion is a monolithic thing in Supernatural. You can put any kind of face on it, but there is a creator. We live in it's a very monotheistic show. Let's put it that way, or has been. Certainly in the past. So I think our guys tend to look at all religions as an aspect of. They've met God. You know what I mean? So it's not that anybody's right or it's not that anybody's wrong. They just have different approaches to it. And I think we were looking at someone like Michael, and he's going around and trying to find basically he's going around. It's is there one good human? Is there one human worth saving? Because if you remember the angels when we were doing the Apocalypse in season 5, they were going to save about 1,000 basically. They decided 1,000 more women. Michael's trying to find one, so he's casting a very wide net. And as we saw in the teaser, he certainly hasn't found one yet.
Thanks very much.